Hello and welcome to Bethan's Kitchen and Garden. Today I've got loads of plants that I need to get into the ground. So let me show you where I'm going to start, which is going to be in this greenhouse. These are my pepper and chilli plants. They have, I would say, not grown very well at all. I don't think much is going to come of them this year. I've put them in here for the time being just to see whether being in the greenhouse will help rather than on my windowsill. And again, here are some more chilies, but they just seem to be sitting and not doing anything. What I did do was I took them out of their original compost and scraped off as much of the old compost as I could, and then potted them up into this new compost. And I put perlite in this new compost as well, because the old one didn't have perlite in, and I wondered if it had just got a bit too claggy for them and the roots didn't grow. But I'll put a picture of the roots up now, and as you can see, they're not looking very good, those roots. They should be much more advanced for about 3 months of growing. So anyway, I've not put in any hopes into these, so exit camera left and enter camera right, which are plug plants essentially that I bought from the garden centre. So I've got some a bell pepper there, orange bell pepper, a purple one, purple bell pepper. Then which one is this? This is another sweet pepper, but it's a small sweet pepper. Then I got a chili plant there, and various different plants anyway, but they look so much better, don't they, than the ones I've grown. And sometimes you just have to say, you know, I need to buy some plants in. If it's not working, I don't think I was ever going to get a harvest, was I? If you look, they're in the same sort of size pots, but look how much bigger they are. So yes, I thought I would go to the garden centre and treat myself to some, and it was quite a nice thing to do actually. And the aubergines that I've grown, again, not looking great. I did the same thing, scraped off all the compost and put them into new compost, and we'll just see how they grow this year. But the first job I need to do is to get rid of this spinach. So I'm going to harvest the spinach, get rid of those plants, plant the peppers that I want to go in the front of this bed, because my chilies I'll grow on in pots. I'll bring you back when I'm done. Well, that's all the peppers in now, well into these positions anyway, and I ended up with 2 punnets of spinach, and then I took out another bunch of the onions that I'm growing as spring onions, and the asparagus just came from around the front because that needed picking today. So all the spinach has gone from here now and has been replaced. I've given my tomatoes a bit of a feed because they're looking very yellow there, and hopefully that should all be good. I've moved the aubergines from the floor where they were because I kept, you know, almost stepping on them, and now they've gone up here on those little shelves I put in, and I've put another shelf in this side now. So so we're doing well for space at the moment. And then these 2 are snack peppers, so they should only grow small fruits, and I've put these into their final pots. These are 7.5 litre pots, and then the chilies in the back, they're currently in, I think they're 2.5 litre pots. They might go up to 5 litre pots a bit later on. But yes, I'm pleased with how this is looking. It didn't take too long, and some of these have already got fruits on them, so hopefully we'll have some peppers this year, because if I was relying on the other peppers, then I wouldn't get much of a harvest from these, would I? But we'll keep them going and I'll report back if I have anything to report. My next job today is to plant these beans. I've got some borlotti beans here and some yellow dwarf French beans. So I have made a climbing frame for the borlottis. I do need to snip off the back bit of this netting because I don't need that, but I'm just waiting to secure it a bit more at the top before I snip it off. But I want to get these beans in the ground. I've made some holes and I'm just going to pop them in. I'll push them down a bit further, but I'll do that when I've got both hands, really, because I do want them to grow a bit deeper than they are currently. Job done. And my next job is to weed this garlic bed here and this one here, and then I've got some tomatoes that I'm going to interplant amongst the garlic, and I hope I left enough room sort of in the middle of the rows to interplant. I did sort of think I might do this when I planted up the garlic, so hopefully that will all work okay. And then my other job is to plant those other beans I just showed you, and also to direct sow some sweet corn. My sweet corn is going in here. I did chit some and put them in some root trainers, but I've had terrible growth from them. I think I've only got about 3. So I'm going to direct sow the sweet corn in here once I've mulched the bed, and I've got swedes and red cabbage to go in here, which will be interplanted with spring onion and maybe some radish. So here's the beds all planted up. There's not really much to show you. They look like they're sulking a bit because, well, they always look like that when you plant them. And this bed has got 6 red cabbage and 15 bunches of spring onions growing in there. Then this bed has got 16 swede plants. I'm not sure if I've planted them out a bit soon, whether I should have let them grow on a bit bigger, but I thought, well, I might as well get them in the ground. And they are interplanted with radish. And then in this bed there's absolutely nothing to show you because this was the bed with the sweet corn and beans, and nothing has popped up yet. Here are the Heinz tomatoes interplanted with my garlic, and here are the pink German interplanted with the garlic, I've got 3 pink German plants to go in here, but for the time being, I've just potted them into bigger pots because this would shade out the tomatoes, so there's no point in putting them in there at the moment. My next job is to harvest and then remove this dill because it's going to seed now. You can tell because the stalks are getting a lot longer, so it'll stop producing soon. So I'm going to take what's here, cut my losses and take the plants out. I was hoping to have had some parsley to go in its place, but my parsley is not ready yet, so it's just going to be a bit of an empty space for the time being, but that's okay because hopefully it'll give the tomatoes a chance to grow on a bit. Well, that's the dill all removed now. These thought I'd give you an update on how these tomatoes are doing. They're looking pretty sorry for themselves. I think I might have put them out a bit too early, but there are fresh green growth coming sort of on the axis, as it were, in those little side shoots there and a couple there. They're more pronounced on some of the other plants, so for instance like this one, and this one has also got fruit on, so hopefully that will ripen soon. And then once these sort of new green growth comes through more prominently, I can remove these old yellowing leaves, but I don't want to remove the old yellowing leaves yet because they might still be helping the plant photosynthesize, so I don't want to completely ruin it. And there's some spring onions here, and then there's the rest of the tumbling tomatoes. Again, there's some good green coming through there, so I'll keep an eye out, and once the green is really, really prominent, I shall remove some of the leaves. But there are tomatoes coming on there as well, and lots of flowers, so I think maybe some are doing better than others. But I do wish I had parsley plants to put in here, but that will suffice for the time being, I suppose. And here's a big box of dill that's going to go into my freezer, into a few individual freezer bags, so I can just take a bag out as and when I want. And then I've got lots of spoils to go in my hot bin composter. My next job is to weed this broad bean area and garlic area and harvest this coriander. Some of it is already beginning to get flowers on, so I'll leave like the really main stems, as it were, and I'll just take the coriander from lower down, and that should tidy up this area a lot because it's looking a bit of a mess. And then last night I cleaned this area. I did have a tree branch there, which I've now cut up and put into a box because I'm hoping to get a wood chipper that will chip the wood so I can use it for pathways. But I've started to gather my container garden into this area here. I did used to grow my potato pots down here, but I wondered if it was just a bit too sunny for the potatoes because they never really did very well here. But at the moment I've got two runner beans, two runner bean pots, but also just by the look of it one runner bean coming up so far, but I haven't long planted them. These are the peas that I grew in the greenhouse, and then I put them outside, and they are beginning to get some peas on them now, which is great. We'll have a couple of peas to put in a salad or something. I've got multi-sown beetroot in these pots. These are 5-litre pots. I don't know how well they'll do in these pots, but I thought, well, it's worth a go because I'm running out of the big pots. And then my celery has gone there, and that's looking good so far. And then I've got my tub of mint. I will also be adding tubs of courgettes and probably other beans as the season goes on. But let's get back to this. I'm gonna give this a weed and I'll show you what I've got when I'm done. I've just spotted the first few ripe strawberries for this season. My daughter will be very, very pleased as she loves strawberries. So I thought I'd just show you them because they won't hang around very long when Anwen's about. Got my coriander ready to go in the freezer. I'll just wash it first and then freeze it. Got a big box of spoils to go in my hot bin composter. And then this area is looking much better now. It's all weeded and tidied up a little bit. I couldn't get in all the broad beans at the back, so I'll just have to weed that section when the broad beans come out. And let's take these over to the hot bin composter and see what's occurring in there. So the other day, my husband mowed the grass and he put all the grass clippings in there, which have all shrunk down because you can see where the debris around the edging is. That signifies that those grass clippings were up that high, but now they're not. So I'm just going to add some shredded paper and these new ones, and hopefully that will get the hot bin to start acting up again. I need a bit more paper than is there. I'll probably do 3 lots of that amount because roughly you do, I think it's 3/5 green to 2/5 brown, and you can also use wood chip, but I haven't got any wood chips, so we're just using shredded paper. So I'll get all that put in and I'll show you what it's looking like then. So here it is. It's quite full now. All the paper has been mixed with the greens, so hopefully it'll start activating again. And if it doesn't, I'll just I'll put some urine in it and that should activate it all quite nicely. Well, that's it from me for today. Thank you for joining me. I'm really pleased with everything I've got done, and slowly but surely the garden marches on. So thank you very much, and all I can say about the jobs today is lovely job, and take care everybody.